The next presenter is a fellow colleague of mine. For those who don't know, I also do stand-up comedy. And I actually met Kris in Montreal, because I used to live in Montreal, and Kris had me come to do a show. And I reached out to Kris because it's actually part of his life. He doesn't necessarily talk much about, but he's here to share his experience as a recovering addict. So please welcome Kris Kingsbury.
Yes, a recovering addict. I'd like to say I'm recovered now because I've spent more time recovered than I actually used. That's your recovered point. You can't just say I'm in recovery forever because there's got to be a finish line. You've got to have yourself a finish line for something, right? Now, does anybody know what synthetic adrenaline, methamphetamine feels like? No, of course not. Any runners in the room? Anybody run? No, running. Okay, forget that. My friend. It is synthetic adrenaline. It will make you feel the highest highs, combined also with the lowest lows, right? Because your body naturally produces a little bit of adrenaline, but when you take too much synthetic adrenaline in over time, you can no longer produce it naturally. Now, going back to a flashpoint, I'd say about September of 2003. Living on my own, just got laid off from my first construction job. Was in a restaurant in working environment, and the drug found me through that way. You can go from absolutely snot-hanging drunk to sober in like 2.5 hits. And then you can continue to drink. So you catch the edge there, where you see the allure of it, make you simply more of what is there. A lot of people say, well, the drug will change you. I don't necessarily agree with that, because those hard drugs don't necessarily change you. They simply make you more of what the person you actually are. And during my addiction span, I did a lot of drugs, and it was a lot like people would come home and have a drink to relax and unwind. Well, I would come home and have a line and clean the house and get myself organized for the next day, stop using for a bit, relatively sleep, and by that I mean I meditate for 4 to 6 hours just laying in my bed, thinking about the next day. Then I would get up and go to work and work a full day, and I would come home and, depending on whether or not I was tired or not, sleep then, and then get up and start the whole process over. I worked as an excellent employee, always punctual, except for when the supply ran out, which meant I probably wasn't around for at least 3-4 days. There's a big gap in that span. But when I was there, it was the absolute essence of a great employee. I enrolled myself into trade school, doing many different side jobs with all the extra time you have, because you're not sleeping a heck of a lot. So you're pulling in a lot of extra money, but it's going into a lot of different spots. I was taught my class in NAIT, Northern Alberta Institute of Technology, for Lath and Interior Systems. That's a fancy name for saying drywaller, folks. That's what I do now for a living. I own my own business. We'll get to that in a bit. I'm just kind of giving you a bit of a backstory. So I was a functional addict for a better portion of 8 years, and I was involved in a relationship that, if you've ever been involved with, everybody's been involved in a relationship clearly in this room, but drug relationships are a bit interesting because they accelerate the time together. You're up for much longer. A 1-year relationship feels more like 4. Because of just the time together, and you're not really reacting or interacting with anybody else but that significant other. So even though it's a 1.5 year relationship, it feels much longer, right? And again, once that broke down and we separated, and it was messy, and she took things from me, and I harassed her online. We were just the worst people to each other on this breakup. And admittedly, I was a terrible jerk and I broke her heart. Right? And then after I did that, I realized my brother came and saved me from my apartment. And by save me, he literally is like, you have to leave this place. You're not really living, you're just a shell of a person. So I moved away there, and I worked with him for about a year, helped him with his company with flooring. And from there, I got a vacation out here. For the first time, I'd never come to Ontario, and this was in the summer, July of 2009. It was the first time I ever came out here. And I came out here with my sister, who I had not grown up with, and it was a good headspace clearing break where I wasn't actually using anything for about a month and a half. And I came out here and I saw cornfields, and I was like, that's interesting. How can they grow corn out here? And then I got out of the car and I realized humidity. Oh my God, humidity. That is the worst invention you guys can come up with out here. That is horrible. Okay? But I felt a sense of hope being here, just knowing that I didn't know the terrain. Every corner I turned around didn't have a trigger of emotions from the past. And triggers will lead to a spiral of use again. As much as you can pull yourself away and be like, I'm done, I'm finished, I'm clean, places as well as people hold memories. And just simply by being around those places will activate subconsciously a train of thought that will lead you back to use. And that's why people relapse on all sorts of things. Alcohol, food, shopping, anything's an addiction, people, right? For myself, the city of Edmonton that I grew up in was my biggest trigger. So I knew after leaving this vacation and coming back home, and driving across the Canadian Shield for a second time, and don't advise anybody does that ever again, ever. Because it's like, I got out of the car in Thunder Bay, and I was like, yo, sis, what, we got like 6 hours left? She's like, 16 hours, right? Anyway, so I came back to Edmonton. I sold a lot of my home stuff, and I bought a ticket and contacted my father, who I'd never grown up with. I was like, I need a place, I need to get away from Edmonton. And he said, you can come here, absolutely. And I was like, good. So September 26th of 2009, I moved here. And I moved to here with my 2 cats and my tools, my hand tools, and 1 suitcase, my MacBook, and just a little bit of clothes. And just the knowing that I'd be away from that city and away from everything. And I moved to Constance Bay. Now, because synthetic adrenaline and amphetamines themselves, I was mentioning earlier, they produce that, everybody produces adrenaline. So if you've been taking on synthetic, you have receptors in your body for these things. You have receptors for all these things in your body, right? When you no longer produce them, you can't naturally produce your own. So there's a period of I guess it would be like a total detox. That detox for me lasted about a month. Now the first week I was there, the first day I was there, I still had traces of it in me, and I was talkable and sleeping normal. But then my first week I was there, I was sleeping about 20 hours a day, and up, about 20 hours. I'd be up at a 10-hour period for like an hour. I'd drink a bunch of water, I'd turn on Batman Begins, and I would sit in my MacBook and I would pass back out for another 10 to 12 hours. That process changed with movies, but it lasted for about a week until I just kind of said, you didn't come this far to sit here and do this. You just didn't. So I got myself up longer, I got moving more. My dad had actually started a basement renovation that he didn't have time to because he worked for Ottawa City Housing. So I was like, okay, bring the materials home, I'm going to just start doing this. So my next 2 weeks were about 6 hours of work followed by another 8 hours of sleep, getting up for 2 hours, and then working for 6 more hours. And I finished this bathroom on my own. So I kind of rebuilt myself with this bathroom. It was kind of a weird, and everything in that house I rebuilt myself with and trained myself to just be normal again. Now, the receptors in your body never go away from that long a period of abuse. Alcoholics have it as well. It'll be like 1 drop is too much and then the C is not enough, right? For myself, I have a hypersensitivity to anything pseudoephedrine, ephedrine derivatives, or anything along those lines. Somebody offers me an energy drink, I'm like, wow, you want to peel me off the ceiling or use me as a jackhammer, right? It's that, to that level. If I look at Sudafed, I'm like, no thank you, I'm okay, that's all right, you know? It's one of those things, it's just the sensitivity that's there, right? It's the same with people when they ask me, hey, you ever watched Breaking Bad? And I'm just like, that's great, because I lived it, you know, I didn't really need to see that. And so there's a few triggers that still exist, but over the next 2 years, I didn't have the hours for collecting EI or anything along those lines. So Puddle, missing my TED Talk, Puddle. I didn't have the initial hours to collect EI or any employment insurance, so I did what any interprovincial red seal would do in this situation. I put my name on the Union Hall list, and I waited. And I waited too long, and they never called. So I went and got a job at Home Depot, and I spent the next 6 to 8 months there, making a great network until the Hall finally called, and I went back to work for the Hall. And in the Hall, I worked on a bunch of prestigious projects. Strict, rigid working, like 7 a.m. to 2:30 in the afternoon, typical union stuff. Rebuilt my life that way, covered all my past debts, really just built things in life as I rebuilt myself. And I knew at the end of that breakup of that relationship that I was making that choice now to no longer be in that relationship with the city, with the drug, and with that old person. And I knew, people ask me, how did you know, how did you do that? I'm like, it's strange, but I saw myself already have done it. Does that make any sense? Yes, okay, cool, I'm glad you're on with it. Because people are like, you've already done it. And I'm like, yes, like I had already been there. Like I had already finished it. And you just continue forward with that mindset. It's just like when you read a blueprint and you can build it from scratch, they're already showing you how it's finished. Or if it's a long tour highway at night, you don't need to know where the highway goes, you just know the road keeps going that way, right? And all you need to see is the next line or the next curve. You don't have to be concerned with the whole journey. You just know that that journey is going to be at the end. And that's why I try to put it in perspective like that. Like, did you feel that way about your children? Because now I'm married and I have 2 kids. One's 5 and one's 3, and they're like, wow, like, what are you ever going to tell them about being an addict? They're like, I'm going to tell them the truth, and I'm going to argue with like facts. I'm not going to say don't do these things, because the moment you tell somebody not to do something, they are going to do it, right? So I'm just going to be like, you can't do these things, but here's what's going to possibly happen. And I advise to take that route with anybody who's suffering with or thinking of. And it did work for my youngest brother, Jeremy. For when I moved here in 2009, he was just heading into grade 10. And so a lot of his friends were starting to experiment with Molly, and I just educate them. That's what I'm getting at. And they're like, I had somebody tell me the other day, like, you seem like such a great parent. Like, I'm like, well, thank you. I like to think that my past as an addiction, being an addict, actually helped that. And they're like, how did that happen? I'm like, well, for one, I was broke. I never had any money, right? I had other people's bodily fluids on me, and I never slept. Tough room. Okay, that's good. So, what I can take away from that now is that I stopped working with the Hall because I came from Alberta. And I don't speak a lot of French, I speak construction. So when I get on jobs and they're speaking about things in Francais, and then I step in with the next sentence about what they're about to build, and they're like, oh my god, you speak French. And I'm like, no, I speak construction. But because I don't speak French, I was never allowed to actually run any jobs. I would never be allowed to be a foreman or a site superintendent. So I quit the Hall and started my own company. And I've been an independent contractor now for almost 5 years. That in itself, being able to just master and work with clients like our first speaker had said, and talk with exactly what they want and need, and being able to see what they want and need at the end of the day, the same thing I used, the same trick I used to bring myself back from the darkness. Lack of better words. I don't really have too much more to say on this, guys, but find me on any socials. Thank you, Mike.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Kris, for sharing. And I think that's actually a good lesson we can take away, that sometimes it's detaching is the best thing, right? You can change your circumstances and start fresh. So, how about that, Kris?